welcome to this week's video. Today I have some neat little thing to share with you. I received this watercolor sketchbook from Lightwish. They contacted me and asked me if I would be interested in reviewing their new refillable 100% cotton watercolor sketchbook. And how could I say no to a cotton watercolor sketchbook? I was, of course, very interested in trying. I already opened the box to make sure everything was okay, but I haven't touched it apart from that because I wanted to share with you. So this is the sketchbook. It looks really neat. I appreciate that it's not real leather, it's synthetic leather, because I tend to avoid buying real leather products. I'm a vegetarian and I try my best not to buy products that have leather on them. So it looks quite well made. It has this elastic band here that you use to close it, like so. You have another pen holder here that actually holds this travel brush, which I'll be testing also. And what else? The cool thing is that it comes also with this tiny palette over here. It has 18 wells. You can fill with the paint that you wish. And this little mixing area here is actually ceramic, so it should be good to mix. I'm gonna try some color mixing here and see how it behaves. I haven't cleaned or done anything because assuming ceramic doesn't really need to be prepped like plastic does. And yes, it comes also with the holes here, so you could attach it here, but of course, because you will be painting, they added this extra piece here where you can just open it and then add it here, so you would have your colors ready to paint and mixing in this area over here. So quite nice. I find it very compact. I like the little, looks like some type of resin palette. It's neat that it fits here very well with the sketchbook. And I'm looking forward to filling this in. I already separated a few colors there. I'll be talking about it. And I think also that this transparent bit over here could be useful if you want to use it in that way. Let's say you can also have your palette this way, and then have the, I don't know which material is that, some sort of plastic, but you could have it also in between pages if you want to protect the pages below, not to have the paint go underneath. I think that could be a good use as well. If I can be honest, if I'm using this at home, I would probably just remove it altogether from this part over here and just have it on the desk. It doesn't take a lot of space. I think this is just useful to be carrying around together with the sketchbook when you have it on the go, but in any case, it doesn't take a lot of space. Another thing that I find pretty cool about this little sketchbook is that it comes with the cotton paper, which I'll be testing, but this allows you to replace it anytime with the paper of your preference. So even if you are not a big fan of this paper, you could buy big sheets of Fabriano or Arches paper, Balhong paper, cut it to the size, punch the holes here using a paper punch like this, and then off you go. You just replace it. They also sell refills for these, but honestly, you could put any type of paper here. If you want to have a mixed media sketchbook, you could have a few watercolor pages and then add maybe a few pages of a smoother watercolor paper for gouache, or it, you know, sky's the limit. You can add all sorts. You can add colored paper, black paper. So I think this is quite nice to allow you to have this flexibility, you know. And something else that I did when I saw this As soon as I saw this little page here, it's not really a square, but it made me instantly think of Polaroid photos. And a few years ago, I did an October challenge on Instagram where I posted all of my artwork as little Polaroids. It was really fun. I'm gonna put some of the images here on the screen if I'm able to find them. And yeah, so as soon as I saw this, I said this would be great to do another little Polaroid thing. So I went ahead and I created this template using this first page here for the measurements. I measured it in a piece of cereal box. And then I just drew the holes, you know, putting on the top of the cardboard, drew the holes, used the paper punch to punch the holes, and then I measured the square over here that I can keep also together with my sketchbook, so every time I can just put it here and trace it. And so you don't have to go through the same work that I did to create that. I'll leave a link below in the description to my blog where you could download this template. I put it on a page for you with the measurements. You could measure yourself like I did, or you can just print it and stick to a cardboard page and cut it out like I did. So hope that helps you to get creative and inspired to create either with this sketchbook or other sketchbook you might have. And now let's go through the paints that I want to add to this little palette. So I separated these paints over here with a basic criteria, apart from some that I really like, and I needed to have a few that I really like in this mix, but I took a few paints that I own and that I feel uncomfortable to use for some reason. They are opaque, it's a color that I don't reach out for, I own them, but I don't use them. So I said, let's turn this into an experiment. Let me try to find ways to use them. So probably what I'm going to do now is off camera, I'm gonna fill in those wells over here because it will be extremely long and boring if you watch me do that work. I'm gonna probably use my little paper punch to smooth the paint here. And as soon as I am done, I'll be back and we can swatch and do some color mixing, and maybe we'll paint also some tiny artwork here. Be back soon. So I'm back. I fill in my palette. I also took the time to write the names of all of the colors. To be honest, I thought I wouldn't be able to finish recording this video today because a huge summer storm fell upon us over here and it was very noisy and very gray and dark, but here we are now, sunny again. So I think I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see better. Yeah, and I'm gonna use this little grid here to swatch my colors with the brush that was provided in the sketchbook. I'll start with the first color, a yellow. Just have a few bristles coming out now, so let's hope they are the only ones. So I have this yellow here. This is Turner Yellow from Winsor & Newton. I think I bought out of curiosity. I probably saw someone using it or talking about it. The pigment, maybe, not necessarily this paint. And I bought it because I'm a pigment nerd. And I never used it because it's an opaque color. And as you may know, if you have been watching my videos, I'm not a big fan of opaque colors. Next one is not a color I don't like. I actually quite like it, but because I have similar tones, I end up forgetting to use this. So this was a chance for me to put it to use, but I love this color, and this is Aussie Red Gold by Daniel Smith. It's a beautiful golden orange. Can be diluted. It looks a bit like an orange made with Nico Azo yellow, even though I'm not sure about the pigments on this one. Here it says it's diarylid yellow, PI83, and transparent red oxide, PR101, and quinacridone red, PV19. So no Nico Azo yellow, but I really like this orange. It's a beautiful orange. So this palette is a mix of colors that I like but somehow don't use because I use others that are similar, colors that I don't like and don't use, and colors that I purchased but still haven't had a chance to play with. It's kind of an experimental palette. So next I have Perlin Red by Rosa Gallery. I love Perlin Red, and someone had recommended the Rosa Gallery one for having some texture. I bought it, but I haven't had a chance to use it yet, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to put it to test here. And it looks nice with the orange and the yellow. Then a color that I absolutely love and I use it a lot. That's what I said. I could not have a palette only with colors that I don't reach out for, otherwise they will be forgotten again. So I had to include some of my favorite here. And this is Smalt Blue by Winsor & Newton. I absolutely love this. It's like if ultramarine violet and ultramarine blue had a baby. It's a beautiful purplish blue. And it has texture as well. I find it really hard to stay within the lines with the brush because it's quite a large brush for the small space that I created here. The next one is Verditer Blue by Holbein. It's a beautiful color that artists here on YouTube seem to love, but again, it's an opaque color, it has white on it, so not the type of color I reach out for. But because people like so much this for skies, I bought it and now I'll have to use it. I have another bristle that came out here on the painting. I know I should leave it alone and remove it when it's dry, but it drives me mad. Here we go. Now we can continue. So far the paper is looking nice. I don't feel anything unusual about it. We have Ultramarine Gray by Rosa Gallery. I swatched this in a previous video and I really liked it, but haven't had a chance to use it, and this is a bit opaque as well. This is one of their new colors of 2026. This is coming dangerously close to the red here as I try to fix my circle, but I'll leave it that way. There's no size on it, but it's kind of comparable to the size 8. This is a Rosemary & Co. pointed red dot, so it looks a bit like a size 8. Next we have Nightfall Azure. This is another Rosa Gallery new color for 2026. It's beautiful, but again, it's quite opaque. So I'm gonna challenge myself to find ways to use opaque paints. That will be my objective for this little sketchbook. I want to try limited palettes, maybe some color mixing, using them diluted. I'll find ways to adapt them to my way of painting. Next we have a violet, and this is Manganese Violet by Rembrandt. It's a beautiful violet. I have also the Sennelier version, but I don't tend to use it a lot. This has also beautiful granulation. And then we have another type of violet color, that's Chrome Orchid by Kusakabe. I don't have a lot of paints from Kusakabe. I just bought a few single pigments when they were released because they were very unusual pigments. This one, for instance, is pigment PR236. I don't remember ever seeing this pigment before. It's a very light, delicate type of dusty rose violet color. I think it looks very nice next to the ultramarine gray above it. When I put these colors together, I didn't put any thought in how they would work together as a palette. I just start grabbing colors that have been sitting for a while unused. Next is Helio Green by Schminke, and this is a color that no doubt must be useful, but I don't think I've ever reached for this color, ever. This is PG36. I think it's considered phthalo green yellow shade, if I'm not mistaken. I usually use the phthalo green blue shade for mixing, mostly with pink to get a nice gray. Yeah, this is a bit warmer, and I'm sure it will be great for mixing, so I'm gonna do some experiments with it. Some of you had asked me to show how to do these color charts and color mixing. You are interested in learning more about that, so I'll be recording a video. I'm not sure when it will be published, but I plan to record a video showing different ways to do color mixing exercises to know your paints better, like grids, like the one I showed in the previous video, and there's other exercises you can do as well. It's a very fun exercise. In the meantime, this one that I just painted is called Olive Oxide. This is also Rosa Gallery. It's another one of their new colors of 2026. It's a nice brownish green, but very opaque as well. And next we have Terre Verte by Winsor & Newton. And I don't know why I have I have Terre Verte, the yellow shade. From some brands I have the blue shade. From other brands, like this one is the blue shade, it's the cooler one. It's a nice color. It's not that I have anything against it, but somehow I don't really use it, so I thought it would be a good occasion to find ways to use it. Then we have another Winsor & Newton one, that's Mineral Gray. This was one of their new releases. I don't remember how they called it, but was something like paying tribute to old type of colors. This is a really nice gray. I'm not sure why I haven't used it, but it's really nice. And it looks like there's a bit of texture on it. So far I'm enjoying how the paper is receiving the colors. The ones that have texture and granulation are showing it well. And we have now the Oswald Gray. It's kind of a warm gray. I usually prefer cooler grays, so that's why I didn't reach out for this much. And it's, as you can see, a bit opaque as well. My circle started in a good place, so well behaved, and now they are bigger than life. Then we have Kassler Brown from Schminke. This is another color I shared here. I ordered some new colors, and one of them was the new Retro Tubes by Schminke. They have this old old-timey design. And this is Kessler Brown. This practically exploded out of the tube once I tried to fill in the pen. It was hard to get it closed again. Now we are on to the final row. We have Raw Umber by Michael Harding. And again, raw umber is not a color I usually think about much, but it's super useful for mixing and also to paint natural subjects, I guess. This one is quite warm. And it has some texture also, it looks like. Then we have Burnt Sienna by Jackman's. And these are colors. I have also the Golden Ochre. They are the two last ones. That they were just sitting on my drawer, and that's why I decided to put them to use in this palette. And I have to say, the first time I received this, I bought these Jackman's colors, and I noticed the way they are. They made me think of medicine somehow, because they have this type of packaging. But I have to say, to fill in those small palette wells, it was perfect. I wish all of them had this type of pipette at the end, because it was so much easier to fill in with that tiny tube rather than this monster by Schmincke that almost erupted in my hands. So now we have the Burnt Sienna, and this Burnt Sienna is PR101 and PI150, so there's a bit of nickel azo yellow mixed here. Quite unusual. Usually Burnt Sienna is either PBR7 or PR101. I quite like Burnt Siennas that are more on the orange side. So I find this very nice. And now we have the last one, which is Golden Ochre. And this is PY43. It's also a color I like. I have Golden Ochre from Winsor & Newton in one of my palettes, and I really love it. But it's also a bit opaque. Maybe because at the time I added to my palette was, I think, the first palette I put together, so I just put colors I liked without thinking too much of their properties. That's why there's a mix. Now I'm always preferring transparent colors, just because I find that it's easier to work with them and it's less risky to have muddy colors. You know, when you mix with opaque paints, it can go south very easily. So I have my swatch sheet here ready. I'm gonna put this aside, and I'm gonna use the palette to do some play, maybe color mixing, so I can check how the ceramic mixing palette works, and also paint something here. So I'm gonna use again my little template. Here we go. So I'm looking at this palette here to see what I can try first, and my first intuition was, oh, this looks like a lovely palette. Smalt, Aussie Red Gold, Ultramarine Gray. Of course I would think that, because these are colors that I like and I put in the palette, and then I stopped myself and I said, no, you go with colors that you usually wouldn't pick. So I thought a bit better, and now I think I'm gonna try something using Turner Yellow, the Mineral Gray, Asphalt Gray, Golden Ochre, and maybe I'll add, I'm thinking Perylene Red or Burnt Sienna. Maybe Perylene Red, a bit more modern. So I'll go with these four and we'll see what we get. So I drew a very quick floral here based a bit on a photo I took the other day walking down the street. I'm gonna put the photo here so you can use it also if you want to use it for drawing and practicing. And I will try to incorporate maybe the colors I mentioned in this painting. I'm not sure if I use them all. We'll see how it goes. I'll try to be just experimental with it. So I'll put some music while I'm painting. And because this video is probably quite long, I'll have to speed up the footage a bit. And we'll come back once I am done so we can talk more about the paper. So it's a brand new day. I finished my painting yesterday. It was getting a bit dark. I added the Oswald gray in the background. I felt it was not contrasting enough with the foreground. So off camera I added a second layer of paint, and just to break a bit with the monotony of the flat paint, because I tried adding some drops of water to try and create a bit of texture, but I think not because of the paper, but more because of the paint being opaque. I didn't see much in matters of water drops texture, so I added a little bit of pencil here, and you may notice I added some details with a golden pen. I did the framing here with a gel golden pen by Uniball, and also in the leaves. I also kind of refined a bit the lines with colored pencils, and I added a bit of texture with a lighter pencil here. And I quite like how this little painting came out. I hadn't planned too much about this testing over here, but I was happy with it. The brush was good as well. I used it to paint the whole thing. The only thing I would say is that for this size of painting I did, because there were tiny areas here with smaller details, it was a bit harder to control because it's more on the larger side. Ideally I would take a smaller brush, like a size 6 or 4. But overall it was not bad. Like I said, there were some stray bristles that were released. As you can see, there's one right now, but it was not too bad. And overall I'm very happy with the way the paper performed. When I used the first layer here in the background, I noticed that even though I had passed a smooth layer of paint, I got a few white speckles. I don't know if you can see here, there's still some left, like very small type of texture speckles, as if the paint didn't get to cover the whole area. But to be honest, I quite like the effect because I think it goes well with this aesthetic of Polaroid and vintage retro type of look, so it didn't bother me at all. And what else can I say? I forgot to mention before, the only thing is that the sheets of paper have different texture in the front and in the back. So you have cold press texture at the front, and here is more like a hot press texture. I haven't used this side to paint because I usually like more textured paper to paint on watercolor, so I wouldn't be able to say much about painting on smooth paper because not my preference. You could also use this side for small gouache studies. You could also make small gouache Polaroids. And I think the paper is thick enough to allow you to use both sides of the paper if you wish. You could also do little color tests over here and then do the painting on the side. There's a lot of things you can do with this little sketchbook, and yeah, I really like it. Would I buy this for myself? Yes, I would. I think that apart from the paper being nice to paint and all of the things that come with it, like the little cover and the brush, I like that this allows you flexibility to add in also your papers if you wish. So I think for this alone, it's a very nice purchase to have, and it looks nice as well. Like I said, you can security close it here. I have my palette on the side. I left it open to have the paints dry a little bit better. So about the ceramic palette, I think it worked really well. I didn't see any issues. I think it worked as you would expect from a ceramic palette. So I think overall it's a neat little set. I can see myself maybe bringing it with me, painting or sketching in lunchtime. I think it's small enough to carry in your bag or in your backpack. I hope you like this little review. If you are interested in checking this out, I'll leave the links below in the description. And let me know in the comments what you think, if you would use that as well, what type of things you would paint, if you like my idea for the little Polaroids, and if you have any suggestions what should I paint next. I'm always happy to read your comments. Don't forget to leave me that like and subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I hope to see you here soon. Bye!